Hello, so I asked you all to ask me some questions on Instagram, so that's what we're going to be answering today whilst I do my makeup and get ready with you all. So we're starting off with my Abajo moisturiser. This one's a vitamin C one with sun cream in it, and it's quite a nice one. So we'll quickly pop that on and then get into the questions. So the first question we're going to be answering is, what made me join Miss GB? So I aged out of the teen pageants that I was doing last year, and then Chloe, she's from my area, who had won Miss Galaxy, set up our regional heats for Miss GB. So it was Nottinghamshire last year, and because I was going to school still in Nottinghamshire, it meant that I could join those heats, which was really nice. So I thought I would do a heat instead of a national for my first time as a Miss, because you do swimwear and the interview will be slightly different. The things that they're looking for will change. So I decided that it would be a nice way to sort of make that step up into a Miss, because I knew I didn't want to stop doing pageants, but it was just a case of what's the best way to go about going from teen to Miss. And I thought that by joining a smaller heat, it would just give me like a chance to give it a go without being in front of hundreds of people and it being really like intimidating and scary. So that's how I joined Miss GB the first time. And then because I came first runner-up last year, I decided that I definitely wanted to come back this year, but I was struggling to find sponsorship. And then I did get sponsored by Gonk Mansfield, so you should definitely go and give them a look because they're absolutely fantastic. They ship worldwide. They've got loads of different little bits and bobs for anybody who likes gonks or just wants something cute to gift to somebody else. But yeah, so because I managed to get sponsorship from Gonk this year, it meant that I was able to join again, and then luckily for me I managed to win it this year, which was a real sort of exciting thing because I never thought that I would win a Miss pageant this early on, and now I'm going to Miss Great Britain. So the next question is, when did you start competing? And I'm going to tie that in with what made me enter pageants. So I started competing when I was in year 12, so I was in college, my first year of college when I started competing, and so that means I was 16 when I first started. And I started it because I didn't enjoy school. I had quite a rough time at school. I was bullied quite badly, and then that didn't really stop when I went into college. It sort of carried on, but with a different group of girls. So in the January of being in college, I had no more friends anymore at school, so I thought it would be nice to try and do something outside of school to try and make some more friends and build up my confidence a bit. I'd loved the idea of doing a pageant for years before, but I'd always been told no by my mum because she thought that it would be quite damaging for me, because obviously it is a judgmental environment, and we expected the girls to be quite judgmental within the pageant, not just like the judging and things like that. So she was quite hesitant to let me join, but once she decided it was okay, I decided to enter one last minute, not thinking that I would be selected to get into it. So I thought, I'll just send in the form, give it a go, and that's when I got accepted to Galaxy for the first time. So Galaxy is one of our international pageants we have in the UK. So we have a UK finals, which is what I applied for, and then the winner gets to go to Orlando, Florida, and then compete for the Miss Galaxy international titles. So I was in the teen division when I first started, and I made some amazing friends. I absolutely loved it, and it was like the best decision I made for me to try and help myself get into a better place in terms of friendships and school and things like that. It just gave me so much more confidence the first time that I then ended up going back quite a few times after. So the next question we've got is my favourite round. So my favourite round has always been between fashion and evening wear. I think that I like the slowness of evening wear. It's quite, especially when I first started, for me it was easier to walk slower and just more gracefully than it was for me to go fully spins, twirls, everything that comes with fashion wear. But as I've gotten more confident and more comfortable, and I've been happier with my outfits and things like that, like now I know more what to expect going into it. I absolutely love fashion wear. I can remember the first time I ever competed, I had no idea what to wear for fashion wear. I'd looked at what other girls had worn in other years and things like that, and I tried to make myself something similar, and I got behind stage and I absolutely hated it. And I didn't start crying, but it was definitely close to nearly crying, and I was just in blind panic. And one of the other girls who was there, she was handing over, and she was like, gave me the best pep talk ever, and then I went out and I really enjoyed it. So I've once you get over the initial fear of what is everybody else wearing, what am I supposed to be doing, things like that, then fashion wear is a really lovely round because it can literally be anything you want it to be. My outfit, don't get me wrong, it wasn't as fancy or as extravagant as some of the other girls. I didn't walk as well in it as the other girls who had been doing it for years, but I went out, and after having that bit of a talk with one of the other girls, I felt so much better about it and myself going onto the stage, so then I really enjoyed the round. So I think it's probably now fashion wear. I absolutely loved my fashion wear for Miss Derbyshire GB. It was my favourite thing I've ever worn, ever. I think beats my prom dress. It was just completely unreal. The next question we had was any plans coming up. So I've actually got quite a few different bits and bobs to do with pageants that are coming up. So I've got a photo shoot on Tuesday for my headshots, which will be quite exciting because I've never had a headshot shoot before. I did a bridal shoot last month, which I really enjoyed, so it made me feel a lot more comfortable booking in for my headshots. I felt a bit more like prepared going into it than I would have done before, I think. So I've got headshots coming up, and then I'll be attending Southwell Ladies' Day on the 17th, scouting for new contestants for Miss Nottinghamshire and Miss Derbyshire Great Britain. Laura will be joining me there as well, hopefully, so that will be really nice to be able to have a little look and see who we think should come for next year. It's never too early to sign on. The earlier you sign on, the more experience you're going to have and the more time you have to prepare, because my first one I had 5 weeks to fundraise, get all my outfits, learn what I was supposed to do in a pageant, all of those different things. So the more time you have, the easier it's going to be for you. So we're going to be scouting out for some new contestants, and then we have the masterclass coming up at the end of the month, which is really exciting. And also I'll be attending Chatsworth Summer Country Fair, which is a really huge event in Derbyshire, which I attend every year with my family anyway, but this year I'll be attending representing the Miss Great Britain organisation and having a little look for some future contestants and hopefully doing some other bits along the side whilst I'm there. So they're all things coming up in August, and then at the beginning of September I will be hosting a afternoon tea to fundraise for A Sisterhood. So A Sisterhood is one of the chosen charities this year for Miss Great Britain, and they align most with my passions and my values, so I'm going to be really throwing myself into the fundraising for this. So I'll be hosting an afternoon tea at the beginning of September. For anybody who would like to hear any more details about it, there will be a post coming on social media soon for it. But if you have got any more questions, just either pop them in the comments or message me if you've got me on social media, and I'll give you all the details possible for that. So the next question we've got is, what is a platform, how do you start one, and what is yours? So I do have a platform. My platform is called Marital Rape Is Not a Right. So this is something that I started during my A-levels. The second time that I competed, this became my platform, and I've really stuck with it since. So my passion is human rights law, advocacy for women and children in underdeveloped countries, and then where there's humanitarian crises. So one of the issues that I focused on for my EPQ was the marital rape laws in different countries across the world, and what I noticed was a severe amount of inequality there, and there's also a lot of gaps for education which are being missed in all countries. So the information available in the UK about marital rape laws is not enough and not being provided appropriately enough for the women who need it most. So that's my platform. So my platform is dedicated to the rights of women and children in international countries and educating our society on the different issues and things that are being faced and how we can best support. So I am running a collection at the moment for any comfy clothes, underwear, sanitary products, hygiene products, anything that is new and unused. I'm collecting to donate to local women's shelters in Derby, to help provide these women who are in crisis with a bit more extra support and just some nice fresh bits when they're in a time of need. So I'll be running a collection for those kinds of things. So if you would like to donate, please pop me a message and we can organise that. So that's my platform. Your platform within a pageant is anything that you're passionate about. You don't have to have one. It's not compulsory, but I think in UK pageant systems there is a massive push to bring them away from, it's not a beauty pageant, it's a pageant to select a representative for either your region, your country, whatever scale you're competing at, it's selecting a representative. So if you're really passionate about a certain cause, so whether it's animal welfare or global warming, things like that, whatever you're passionate about, you can create a platform for and advocate for the women, like for the cause. So how are you using your title in the most effective and successful way to make a difference in your community? And I think that's the most important thing with UK pageants, is it's all well and good walking and looking beautiful on the stage, but if you haven't done anything to showcase like why your community matters to you, how you're actively challenging issues within society, I just think that that's a huge part of what judges tend to be looking for. And if you don't have a voice that you're willing to, like if you're not using your voice, why are you competing, and how are you going to make a change by having the crown? Because the crown isn't just about going to nice events and looking pretty and like being the face of an organisation. It's about being the voice behind it too, and I think that's really, really important, and something that quite often, because there's not much, like people don't talk massively about what the need for a platform is, you sort of just assume everybody knows. But if you're new and getting into pageants and you don't already know that, then it's a massive thing to like understand what the importance is. So you don't have to have one. For my first one, I didn't have a platform because I didn't know that I was supposed to have one. I had ideas and things for things that I'm passionate about. My fundraising was for a cause that I was passionate about, but I didn't have a platform because I didn't know what I should be doing to go forward and represent the system in the best light. So now I do know that. That's what helps me find purpose in my pageant journey, is helping people from underrepresented backgrounds or people who are uneducated on where to access support, what support's available for them. That for me is my passion in pageantry. so it's just all about finding your so what are your hobbies outside of pageantry, and what do you enjoy doing with your free time? So I used to play golf for Derbyshire Girls, which I really enjoyed. I absolutely loved it. The only reason I stopped with Derbyshire Girls is because I didn't have the time anymore when I was doing my A-levels. I had to focus on getting into university instead of being able to attend all of the matches and competitions. So I had to stop playing for Derbyshire Girls when I was getting ready to join university, and now I've aged out of Derbyshire Girls, so I would be in Derbyshire Ladies now if I did want to go back, but I don't really have the time. So I now just play golf for fun. I absolutely love it. It's a very male dominated sport, so a huge part of what I like to talk about and discuss with different girls that I meet through pageantry is not to be put off by a sport just because it seems to be a male dominated field. I've been playing golf since I was 5 or 6 maybe, and it's by far my favourite hobby that I've ever had. I absolutely love it. It's such a nice, I find it quite a relaxing sport when it's going well, but it's one of those activities where I genuinely do think more women and girls should be a part of it, because it's such a nice way to get to know other people and to get some fresh air, and it's just a nice sport. So I absolutely love golfing. I also am part of my university's cheerleading team, so I'm part of Hornets, which is one of the biggest societies within our university. I started that this year. I'd never done anything similar to it before. I'd not done dancing or anything like that, so it was completely new, but I've really enjoyed that so far. And yeah, so they're my main 2 hobbies. I'm definitely more into sports than I am like other traditional types of hobbies. I'm definitely more sports based, but I really enjoy doing all the different types of sports. My next question is, are you working on anything exciting at the moment? So at the minute I'm actually in the process of creating a violence against women and girls handbook. So this is something that I'm hoping to have finished hopefully by September, and it's just going to be a little resource which is going to be available for you all to use, just educating on things like the conflict in Sudan, FGM laws, child marriage laws, things like that, where they're quite often under-discussed issues because they're being faced by women. They're not at the forefront of society's issues, and I think that in itself speaks volumes about where our focus is in society. So I'm creating this handbook in the hopes of providing an educational resource that can just help direct people who are in need of help to the right services, but also helping people identify what things that might be happening in their life or a friend's life, what things aren't actually acceptable, and whilst it may be culturally normalised, how can we challenge and overcome that in a society which is changing and which needs to be focusing more on the rights of women and girls. So that's my main project going forward. I'm really excited about it. I'm looking forward to finishing it and finally getting it done and out for you all to have a little look at. And this resource is just going to be a way to help educate and advocate for the rights of women and girls all across the world. So I very quickly just popped my lips on and straightened the ends of my hair out. But that is the finished look for today. I've answered all of the questions that were left for me. If you have any more, feel free to pop me a message, whether it's about pageantry, Miss GB or anything in between. Please feel free to pop me a message, and I hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. Thank you, bye!